My dad was an alcoholic and we did not have a great relationship. But at the end of his life, right before he died, he said something to me that I think was pretty prophetic. He was sober the last 2 years of his life. So we did get along a little bit better then. And right before he died, this was before I'd ever been on Oprah, before I'd ever done anything like that. He told me something that really stuck with me. He said, "Boy, let me tell you something." He said, "I truly believe that during your life, you are going to have the opportunity to intervene in people's lives in such a way that you identify for them threshold moments in their lives that are outcome determinative in where they head, where they wind up. Because oftentimes people don't recognize the gravity of the choices they make. They don't understand when they come to the precipice of moments that can truly change the trajectory of their life." And he said, "I predict that you're going to wind up in a position where you have the opportunity to help people recognize when they come to those moments in their lives." And I don't know what he was paying attention to or what he was really focused on at that point. But what I want you to get is I don't want you to stand at the end of your life and look back over it and say with 2020 hindsight, I recognize now that I missed some key opportunities to change the trajectory of my family. I missed key opportunities to change the trajectory of my life. I want you to stand at the end of your life and recognize that you were alert enough, that you were situationally aware enough, that you recognize those critical choice points when they occurred. I want you to stand at the end of your life and say, you know what? I got a wake-up call that made me one of those people that gets it, that made me stop stumbling through life and pay attention to what's going on so I could seize the moment, seize what's there, and live on purpose. And that's what this series is all about. Because, I believe that everybody has a personal truth. You have one, I have one, everybody has one. A personal truth is what you believe about yourself when nobody else is looking, nobody else is listening. You have a social mask. We all do. I do. You have one. It's when we put our best foot forward. We always talk about putting on our Sunday best. At least we did in the South. We always dressed up to go to church. We put on our Sunday best, put on our Sunday suit, Sunday shirt, washed our face, went to church. That's your social mask. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what you believe about you when you don't have your social mask on. If you aren't honest with yourself about that, then you can't deal with reality. You can't deal with your authenticity. And here's why that's so important. We generate the results in life that we believe we deserve. So if your personal truth is damaged, if you think you're less than, if you don't think you're as smart as good as, if you think you're damaged in some way, you're going to generate results that second-class people should have. If you look at people that are really successful in business or really happy in their marriage and family, and you say secretly, well, that's for them, that's not for me, I don't really deserve that, then you'll never generate that. If you have a damaged personal truth, you will generate a lifestyle, a standard of living, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, socially, that goes along with being damaged. Now, I know that because I grew up with a damaged personal truth because my father was a bad alcoholic. And the problem that kids make is they compare their personal truth with other people's social mask. So I would go to school knowing that our utilities were turned off last night. I would go to school knowing that my father came home drunk and got violent in the kitchen with my mother and sisters. I would go to school knowing that the car had been repossessed and the windows had been kicked out of the house, and compare myself to the kid in the next row who had a clean shirt on and a scrubbed face and a smile, and say, he's a first-class kid, and I have all of these secrets that I don't want anybody to know. And by comparison, I always came in second. So I had a damaged personal truth. And fortunately, I was able to figure that out and heal. I was able to identify a currency at a young age that was able to validate me, because I was an athlete at the time. And so I got a lot of strokes, a lot of currency, a lot of income for being an athlete, both in my family and outside my family. And so I started to think, well, I'm not just from a broken family. Actually, I have an identity as an athlete. And I was first string, first team, first this, first that. And I thought, well, that doesn't jive with being second class. So it started to create what's called cognitive dissonance within me. I had a conflict I had to resolve, and I decided to resolve it as being first class instead of second class. Now, you have to ask yourself, what is your personal truth? What do you believe about yourself? And here's how you need to do that. You need to turn your ear inward and ask yourself what you say to yourself. What's your internal dialogue? How do you label yourself? What do you say to yourself? Because if all through the day you're putting yourself down, if all through the day you're labeling yourself as a loser, all through the day you're labeling yourself as I can't do this, I'm not going to get this done, I don't deserve this. Until you change that internal dialogue, you're never, ever going to get the results that you truly deserve. Now, I'm going to have to put you to work here, and this is a really important assignment. Internal dialogue is so powerful because it actually gets automatic. Here's the problem. We speak at 125 words a minute. We think at 1,200 to 1,400 words a minute. Now think about what I just said. We think 10 times faster than we talk. So you might say something out loud once, and you can think it 10 times for every one time you say it. A bully at school might say something to you that puts you down one time, and then you repeat it to yourself 1,000 times over the next few days. So I need you to really turn your ear inward and listen to what you're saying to yourself. And it's not enough to just think about it. I need you to go to the website that accompanies this podcast, and you'll find that at drfillintheblanks.com. For this episode, you're going to find worksheets there, and one of them is going to be labeled Internal Dialogue. I'm going to have a few examples there of what I'm talking about, what constitutes internal dialogue, and I want you to start making a list of what you say to yourself. Because until you write it down so you can get some objectivity from it, so you can step back and look at it and go, wow, no wonder I feel the way I do. No wonder I feel the way I do. If I look at this list, I'm saying this stuff to myself all day long. My God, no wonder. I'm shocked I even get out of bed in the morning if I say all this stuff to myself. And you say it as often as you do. And I want you to start testing those thoughts, testing them to see if they're rational. And what you're going to find on the website is you're going to find 4 criteria for a rational thought. I'm going to tell you what they are right now. Number 1, if a thought is rational, it has to be grounded in objective fact. It's not opinion. It has to be grounded in objective fact. Number 2, it has to be in your best interest. Number 3, it has to protect and prolong your life. Number 4, it has to get you closer to the healthy goals you want in your life. For something to be rational, it has to meet those 4 criteria. Let me repeat them again for you. Number 1, if a thought is rational, it has to be grounded in objective fact. It's not opinion. It has to be grounded in objective fact. Number 2, it has to be in your best interest. Number 3, it has to protect and prolong your life. Number 4, it has to get you closer to the healthy goals you want in your life. Now, I'm going to list those for you on the website, so they'll go right along with all of these things you just listed on internal dialogue. I want you to test each one of them against those 4 criteria. If it fails any one of the 4, cross it off your list. You can't say that anymore, and you have to replace it with something that does meet those 4 criteria, so you're only saying to yourself things that are rational. This is a very important exercise. Don't skip this one. You may be driving right now. Don't do it while you're driving. Wait till you get home, then get on the website, and then do this exercise. You will be shocked at the power of challenging the lies you're telling yourself and replacing them with rational thought.